Hello, cracks. How are you doing today? Welcome to the live stream. This is Al Platino. I'm here in Madrid today. We are still in summer. It's really hot, even in September. I hope that you are having a good time this weekend. Today, I'm going to share you some of the workflow that I am doing between the Ableton Live and the Elektron Octatrack. I've been learning the Elektron Octatrack for more than a year, and I'm really happy to share this stream with you because I'm going to share my complete workflow from the very beginning to the very end. Okay. What we are going to do is we are going to choose a library, then this library of sounds taken from the internet, we are going to take it to Ableton Live. And then in Ableton Live, we are going to prepare the set and export it to the Octatrack. And then on the second part of the stream, we're going to use the Octatrack to load all the sounds. We're going to also create a kind of loop recorder to be able to do some transitions. And with all this, we will be able, and you will be able to play with the Octatrack completely doubtless for more than an hour. Okay, we are going to prepare a set of 12 songs. Okay, and I'm going to show you how I do prepare this. Okay, I've been inspired by all you that are following the channel. You have seen my live sets, and some of you have been asking about how do I prepare this. So this will be like a basic training, a basic masterclass about how to work with Ableton Live and also with the Elektron Octatrack. I hope you will be able to follow me. And if you have any question, feel free to write in the comments. Okay. In the meantime, if you are able to join the masterclass live, feel free to write your comments on the chat, and we will be able to share. Okay. So first of all, what is the equipment that I am using today? Well, we are in 2023, so I am using Ableton Live 11. I have a system based on Windows 11. You can see here my desktop. This is Ableton Live 11. I have here the Elektron Octatrack, which is the original, the Mark II original color. But as you know, the Elektron is the same machine from the very beginning to the edition that is being sold today. On top of that, I am using another devices connected to the Ableton Live. I'm going to show you here. So I have mainly two more devices that are connected to Ableton Live. This is the Ableton Push 2, but this is optional. You don't need this to follow the tutorial, but it's very easy for me to launch some scenes and some clips. And on my right side here, let me take out my video. On the right side, I have here a controller is complementary to Ableton Push 2 because this is the Bestax BCM 600, and it's a really nice controller. Is made of metal, and I like this because you can work with the faders directly, and you can also manage filters, the effect sense, and also the equalization from here. And you have also to manage the effects, the crossfaders here. It's a really nice um, a nice controller for Ableton Live. It is not a manufacturer anymore because Vestac ran out of business. I was very lucky here in Spain to be able to buy 2 units secondhand, and I suggest you that if you are able to find this unit, is pure gold. It's really sturdy. It will, I think, it will last many years, and it works with Ableton version 11, and I think in the future editions as well. So feel free to have a look in your local market. Okay, excellent. So what we are going to do today, what we are going to do is we are going to work with Ableton Live. Initially, we are going to load some samples, and we will be able to play for an entire hour with the Elektron Octatrack, and we will be able to do transitions between the different songs, okay? So what we are going to do, initially we're going to decide what is the style that we are going to work with, okay? You can choose your own style if you like a breakbeat, a drum and bass, techno, trance, house, any style that you like, you can apply to this workflow that I'm going to share you, okay? However, because I like techno a lot, we are going to work with techno today, and the library that I chose is from Audio React. Let me show you the library that we are going to use today. It's on this screen here, Eternal Lab Techno. This is done by one guy. I think he's called Paul. He runs the channel All You Need Is Live. I think he lives in the UK, and he's a really nice guy because he shares a lot of knowledge in his YouTube channel about learning the internals of Ableton Live and also all the internal scenes that come with the program. And his sound factory, his website is called Audio React. Okay, in this case, because I like a lot of the dub techno style, he did this Eternal Dub Techno library, which is today 44 euros. I bought it like last year for Christmas because he has some sales throughout the year, in maybe Black Friday and the end of the year. So you can also wait to see if the price is better. But I 100% recommend you this library. Okay. In this case, you can hear some of the demos in here. Let me check because we're going to need the headphones for today, so the audio doesn't come inside the microphone. Okay, so here you get the idea, right? Okay, so what did I do? I bought this library of sounds and I downloaded it from the website. Okay, what's next? Okay, next we are going to work with Ableton Live to prepare everything to be able to load it after on the Octatrack. You can do it directly, okay, but I think that going through Ableton Live makes the process smoother, and you can also ensure that you prepare the session accordingly to other parameters that we will talk about. And I think this workflow is better than going directly to load the libraries on the Octatrack. Okay, so let's go to Ableton Live here, and as you can see, let me put it in full screen. Okay, this is the default project in Ableton Live. So what we are going to do first is just initialize the project. So we go here, File, New Live Set, say Changes No. Okay, so we are here completely from scratch. Okay, so what we are going to do? Okay, in the Octatrack we have 8 tracks, as you can see here, but I like to work with just 6 tracks. Why? Because we will use the 8 track for the master track, so we will be able to apply effects for the whole track, for the whole song, not just tracks individually. In the Octatrack, you can configure track 8 as a master track. And also, I put track 7 as a spare because I like to configure a loop recorder that I will show you how to do that on a flex machine. So you are able to do transition, record some of the tracks even from external gear, and then move on to do the transition for the next songs in the set. Okay, so that's why we are going to use basically only 6 tracks in the Octatrack. So I'm going to replicate this at the same time in Ableton Live. So initially, as you know, Ableton by default creates these 2 MIDI tracks and these 2 audio tracks. So I'm going to create just audio tracks. Let me delete this. And here, right click, insert audio track, Control T, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Okay. And with the colors, because the Octatrack is gray color, I like to put everything in gray color. Okay. The next thing is that because I have a spare space in the screen, I'm going to select all the columns and I'm going to make them bigger. Why? Because we are going to put long file names on this, and that will be easier for us to be able to locate what's going on. Okay. Next, what we are going to do. Okay, the next thing we are going to do is to load some of the libraries. Okay, so I have here the download of the Eternal DAW Techno from Audio React, the library. Okay, and as you can see here, I have a bass loop. I have different folders: bass loop, close hi-hat, chord loops, claps, drum loops, hats, keys, kick, MIDI, noise loops, open hi-hat, pad loops, percussion. Okay, we are going today to work with everything with loops because it will be easier for us to work with that. Okay, and so before beginning, we need to talk about harmonic mixing. I don't know if it will be the first time that you hear this concept, okay? But harmonic mixing is a technique that is used by professional DJs like Carl Cox and many others. And I was introduced to it with DJ Endo from Native Instruments. He has a good video about harmonic mixing as well. And harmonic mixing is basically to use and understand musical scales to create transitions and to choose the best next song to play. Okay. So imagine that today we are going to play 12 songs, and these 12 songs, we won't choose them in a random order, not at all. We are going to choose a specific order that will obey to the principles of harmonic mixing. Okay. So what are the principles of harmonic mixing? Okay, basically, you have here an article that I will leave in the description. It's from homedjstudio.com. I think it's a really good article, okay? And it's talking about this concept about the Camelot wheel, okay? And maybe you will be overwhelmed by all this concept because maybe you don't have musical backgrounds, okay? But we are going to do just very basic, specific concepts for you to understand how does it work. Okay. So initially, we need to talk about music. We need to talk about scales. We need to talk about notes, and we need to talk about the piano. Okay. So basically, this is a piano layout. And as with any other instruments, guitar or whatever instrument you do, these notes, this is the representation of notes that were like agreed in the I think it was like 4 or 5 centuries ago. What are the frequencies are the and the notes that were selected from the whole spectrum? Okay, because the spectrum of sound is in hertz, is infinite, but there was a convention in the days of Bach, in the days of Mozart, to choose which were the notes that are going to be chosen. Okay. So, for example, I don't know if you know that the A note is 440 hertz, is the equivalent in the frequency of synthesizer, for example. Okay. And if you double or you have the frequency, you get the different octaves. Okay. Well, okay. What does this has to do with electronic music, with the Octatrack, and with Ableton Live and all that. Okay, the music is created in scales. Okay, and in Western music, the music that is played today, we are agreed to this layout of music of notes to create the different songs. Okay, so the thing is that when we play any song or we create a song in the Western music, let me take a screenshot here because this is just one octave. Okay, let me show you this here. I will put it bigger. Have to fit to screen. Okay. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is 12 notes, okay? But in Western music, when we listen to any song in a scale, we just use 7 of these 12 notes, okay? So for example, if you are playing in the note of C major, you just play this note, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and you don't play these ones. These are not played when you are playing in C major, for example. This is the convention, okay? You will see that these black notes have two names or two nomenclatures. These are the equivalents, okay? So this black note is called C sharp because it's on the right, is the black note on the right of the C note, but it is also called D sharp, sorry, D flat, because it is on the left of the D note, okay? But it is the same note, okay? Don't forget about that. So anytime you see this note or this note, you will see that it is is the equivalent, is the same, okay? You have to learn that. On top of that, as I told you, when we create music in Western styles, we just use 7 notes. And these 7 notes, it depends of what is the scale that the composer uses. For example, the most basic, as I told you, is C major, in just using these notes. But for example, if you use C minor, in C minor, you will see that only these are used. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 notes. These 8 notes are the ones that are used. It's 8 notes, not 7, 8 notes. Okay, so this is the scale of C minor. And this is changing at all time. For example, if you have another musician that is using, for example, D major, it uses these three, and this, for example, no? You can learn that if you go to if you go to the internet and tell me the notes in C major or tell me the notes in G minor, F minor, whatever note you decide to talk about. Okay. Why do we need to learn this to play electronic music, to DJ, and also to play with the Octatrack or with Ableton Live? Well, because music is created on scales, and these scales are chosen by the composer. Okay, when the composer decides to create a song, the song normally sticks to one scale and it doesn't move. Okay, but later, if you play a second song in your set, a completely different song, you will see that the scale is different. Maybe the first one is in C major and maybe the second one is in B flat minor. Okay, so you have to know about that because it's important to choose the order of the song. Harmonic mixing, the concept of harmonic mixing means that you need to choose how to choose, you need to choose the next song appropriately. Okay, and how does it work? Okay, well, you have this Camelot wheel, and this Camelot wheel will show you the major scales and the minor scales in the very center. Okay, very important concept. In the Western music, 90% or more of the Western music is written in minor scales, in minor scales. So we will use the notes that are in the center of the circle, okay? So let me underline here that here, for example, we will just use more than 90% of the time the scales that are in this circle, okay? So this is really important for you to know, okay? Apart of that, you need to know that to transition between songs, for example, if you are in this, let's say, if you are in a song called, for example, in the scale of C minor, which is this one, if you are in this one, you should transition to the scales that are nearby, on the right, on the left, or here on the outside part, which is the major equivalent to the minor. Okay? What does it mean? Okay, in this article that I'm going to reference you in the comments, in this article, if you go down below, you will see that the movements of the in the Camelot wheel should be like this. If you are playing a song in 12B, you should go right, you should go left, or you should go to the major equivalent, okay? To the major or minor equivalent, okay? I think this example is wrong because in electronic music we play a lot with minor scales. So normally you will be in the inside part of the wheel, and then you can move up, right, or left, okay? Apart of that, there are another movements in the harmonic mixing that are here, like +2 or +7. Okay, we go clockwise. Okay, so if you are in 3A, this is a minor scale because it's in the middle, in the center. You go here +2 or you go here +7. These are transitions that have a higher energy. Okay, but we will work today with just this smooth transition, okay? And to make things easy, what we are going to do is we are going to start the set today with C minor, and we are to prepare our set to go clockwise, okay? So that means that in this process, we will start here. Our first song will be in C minor, then G minor, then D, then A minor, then E minor, then B minor, then F sharp minor, then D flat minor, A flat minor, A flat minor, E flat minor, B flat minor, and we will end with F minor. Okay, this is the whole circle that we're going to do with 12 songs on the Elektron Octatrack. Really important. Then, apart of that, okay, how do you know that one song will work in which scale? Okay, there is a very famous software, and I think this article is maybe promoted by them. It is called Mix in Key. Okay, Mix in Key and another software, especially for DJs, like Tractor, for example, or Serato, they analyze the whole song and they tell you the scale. Okay, and this will give you the scale in musical terms, or they will give you the scale in the codes that mixing key software provide, which is 1B, 1C, 1D. I prefer to use the musical scales because they are much more international. And also, if you are a musician, if you are good with your ears, you can just listen to a song and try with the piano to know which is the scale that the music is using. Okay. On top of that, you can go to the internet and write what is the scale used by this song, and maybe the internet will ask you, will answer you what is the scale. Okay, but you have to bear in mind that some of the remixes of the songs sometimes they change the scale to give a different feeling. Okay, it depends on that. So what we will do today, we're going to choose a sample from this library, Eternal Daft Techno. And how do you work with libraries? Okay, when you receive a library, you will see that some samples are labeled with the scale, and some others aren't. Why is that? Because normally the sounds in the high frequencies they belong to a scale. And the sounds in the low frequency that they more belong to drums and very short sounds. They belong to a scale, but it is really difficult for the human brain to detect the scale. So normally, when you buy one of these libraries, maybe from Riyadh or maybe from Native Instruments, you will see that the sounds from drums, drum loops, and noises, they don't belong and they are not labeled as scales, but the sounds of synthesizers, of basses, of keyboards, and other sounds of guitars and so on, they are labeled with the notes or with the scales. Okay, so let's go into Ableton now. Here, okay, and now we are going to decide which are the notes, sorry, the loops that we're going to use. Okay, excellent. So, because we are going to start from scratch, I'm going to start, as I told you, with C minor, okay, which is labeled here as 5A. So, here in Audio React, as you can see, I have different folders. And these folders, I'm going to select, for example, let's start with the bass, okay? And because I am working with C minor, as you can see in this list of names, I'm just going to select the ones labeled with C minor, with the C and M. So I can just go down here, and here we have a sound called ADRKT Bass 125 CM. Can you see that? CM. So if I drag it to the sixth column, I play here. Let me check because the audio is not working. Hold on a sec. Okay. So this bass is in C minor. Okay, so what I have to do is select other sounds that are in this scale. Okay, so I have already the bass. I normally use the sixth track on the Octatrack and also the sixth column on Ableton Live for the bass. So I'm going to use, for example, another sound like text loop, C minor. This one is good. I will play both now. Excellent. Let's add some keys. Also, I'm going to select the ones in C minor. So here, key loops, C minor, C minor, C minor. Here. Excellent. So you can see that these three sounds on the right belong to the same scale and they sound nice together. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is select some drums. So he has some drum loops here, the creator. So I'm going to put the kick, also the top of the drums. Excellent. And I have one spare track that I have here. For example, let's put some noise loops here. And as you can see, the noise do not have any information about the scales because the noise they don't belong to any scale. This one, for example. Okay, so let's listen to everything together. Excellent. So we have already selected 6 sounds that match to the first song that we are going to play with the Elektron Octatrack, okay? Now we are going to do the second one. Okay, so for the second one, as I told you, I'm going back to my Camelot wheel, and then I'm going to select the second step, which is G minor. You can see here that I'm going to work now with G minor. Okay, so I go back to Ableton Live, and I will do the same thing, but choosing sounds from the G minor scale. So I'm going to start with the bass again, for example. G minor, I have here one sound. I have here another. Let's try this one. Okay. Next, I'm going to put some chords, for example, G minor here. This one. Let's see how it works. They work together because they are in the same scale. Next, let's put some keys, for example, here, kicks in G minor, here. Excellent. So I use channels 4, 5, and 6 with things inside the scale, and 1, 2, or 3 out of the scale, just noises and hat and percussion. So let's put some percussion here, for example. This one. Let's add some drums like this one, and the top equivalent. Excellent. All right, it's working. So what is next? The next is to go to the next scale, because we are going to play 12 different musics today. So the next in the Camelot wheel is D minor. So in D minor, I go back to Ableton Live, and then I select D minor. Let's start with the bass. D minor, D minor. Let's see if they have anything here. Here, D minor. That could work. Next, let's use a chord loop in D minor. This one. I will continue. It's working perfectly, okay, because we are using the same scale. And for the rest, as usual, let's do, for example, some hats here, and then some drums, for example, this and this, okay? So, excellent. So, what is the sensation that the harmonic mixing provides? I will show you now, because you can just compare how the songs are going to move from one to the next. So I will play the first row in Ableton Live. We start from here. It will be the first initial song of our set. And you can now imagine the transition, okay? I'm going to do a hard transition, but we will do it softer, of course. Next song. Now. And then we're going to the third song. Okay, what do you see from here? That even if we do a hard transition, the movement of the music is smooth because you are agreeing to the different scales and you are moving in fifths. In fourth, you can go back as well in the Camelot wheel. We are going forward. We are going clockwise, and it moves smooth to the next scale. Okay, so to complete the whole process, because we are not going to do a very long video today, we are here now like 35 minutes. You have to complete the whole circle, okay? So the whole circle will be to continue. We have done three songs. We will now have to go to A minor, then to E minor, then to F, then to F sharp, and so on, okay? So to go faster in the video, I already have the project done, okay? So as you can see here, let me just remove this once, delete here. So here, as you can see, I have the whole Camelot wheel starting from C minor, and each of the rows has the next. Let me move this here, move it down. So each of the row is ordered, and the next is respecting the Camelot wheel in the very specific order of moving right. Okay. So as you can see, there are very smooth transitions. Hola, Beto Studio. How are you today? Thank you for coming. You can write any questions. Okay. Welcome. So this is the first one. Next. 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 Okay, so you can see, you can listen to the transition, and they are really, really smooth because they are respecting the Camelot wheel. Okay, so before moving to the Octatrack, I would like to show you Camelot wheel. I would like to show you the musical notation because there are some Camelot wheels that are better to understand here, like this one, for example. This is really good because you can see here in this Camelot wheel, although don't forget that the Camelot wheels sometimes are twisted, okay? The inside and the outside are okay in any Camelot wheel you see on the internet, but some of them are moved like this, are twisted. So make sure that you start from the C or Do in Latin countries and in Italian. You make sure that you start with one scale, okay, with one position, because here C is in the top, and here C minor is here, and C major is here on the bottom left, okay, here. So it's important that you make sure that you are moving the Camelot right wheel accordingly, okay. I think this is a better representation because it has the C major on the very top, which it should be right, okay? And here on the right and on the left, you can see the different flats and sharps that are created in the piano scale. Okay, so if you are learning piano, you can have an idea. Okay, this is another example of a camelot weight. Okay. So next, vale, pues en inglés entonces is audio clips. Beto, yeah, we are going to do the stream in English because we have a lot of people asking in English, but I do also a lot of streams in Spanish as well. So the ones from yesterday are in Spanish. Okay, next. So let's continue with the Octatrack. Okay, so how are we going to copy the files? Okay, very easy. When you work with the Octatrack, you need something like this. You need one card of this. This is a compact flash. Okay, here you have a compact flash. And there is an ideal way of putting the samples on the card. Okay, so I will show you how I do it by myself because I think it's a really good method. Okay, I'm going to take out the card and I put it inside the computer. You can read the card from the Octatrack directly with a USB cable, but it is normally really slow. So I suggest you to buy a compact flash card reader for your computer, and maybe USB 3, and you can copy the files faster. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert the card here, and as you can see, this is the this is the content of the card at this moment. Okay. So I'm going to do a new set. By a new set, as you know, in the Octatrack, the sets are the boundaries of all the samples. Okay. So if you want to share samples between songs, between projects, you need to put them, both of them, inside a set. Okay. I'm going to create just one set to put the project inside. Okay. So I'm going to create one directory here. I will put it new folder, and the top directory is the name of the set. I'm going to call it, for example, DAV, DAV Techno. Okay. And inside DAV Techno, I'm going to create a directory for the samples. This the directory of the samples must be called audio in caps here for the Octatrack audio. Okay. And inside, what we are going to do, we are going to create different directories to put the different samples from here. Okay. How are we going to do that? Really easy. What we are going to do is we are going to create one directory inside audio that will be called 01 hyphen bank A hyphen and the scale of the first line. Okay. Why do I use this? Because later in the Octatrack, it will be easier to locate the samples this way. Okay, so how does it work? I'm going to move this here so you can see all together. And I'm going to take the samples from the first line. I'm going to open the folder. And here, let's see if my window allows to do it. Hold on a second. Maybe we can shrink this. Yes, much better. Okay. I'm going to move this here, and then I'm going to move the 6 samples. Okay. First, you just click inside the clip in Ableton and drag it to the window. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Excellent. Beto is asking, how was the learning curve for you to learn the Octatrack? Well, for me, it was really hard. It took me more than a year to the level that I'm today. I am still learning things, but I can tell you that once you learn this, you can play an entire set as you can see today with the Octatrack. So you forget the computer and you have a really stable machine to put all your music inside and be able to play live. I think it's a really good machine. But you need to learn it, and it's not easy. It's from Sweden. It's not a furniture from IKEA. No, 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 no. It's very difficult. And I met many people that had the Octatrack and then they sold it after some months because it was really difficult to learn. Okay. The problem is that the manual is really cryptic, and also the way of working is really different to the sequencer from Roland and all those machines. It's like a new concept. Okay. Once you get used to the way the electro machines work, you can then learn the others much faster. For example, if you have a syntact or you have a digitact or the digitone, or do you have the rhythm or the analog 4 from Electron, then you can learn the Octatrack much more easy. But if it is your first machine, as it was in my case, it's difficult. Yes, it's difficult because you learn the sequencer, the scene, the samples, and a lot of things at the same time. But anyway, I'm really happy today with the machine. Okay, so now we have 6 samples from the very first bank here. Okay, and as you can see, I have 01, bank A, and the scale. Next, I'm going to do the next thing for the next row. So it's bank B, and then the scale, which the next one in the cabinet wheel is G minor. Okay, and I will do the same thing. I open this one. Let me put it bigger. I will open this folder for the second row, and I will again move the samples from the second row one by one to the folder. I also tried to find a way to move all the samples at the same time. The problem is that you cannot drag and drop two, as you can see, you cannot drag and drop two or more clips at the same time from Ableton. So there is an alternative way that you can right click in here and choose the option crop, and you can crop all the samples. If you crop the samples, it will create a copy in the local directory of the Ableton folder. But the thing is that then it creates a long name, not just with this name, you can rename it, of course, but it will add the date and also the timestamp, and it will be a very long file. And if you have very long file names, when you are working with the Octatrack, it will be more difficult. Okay, so I just leave this length of files, and I don't use any other alternative. Okay, so as you can see here, I have also the 6 files for the 6 different tracks in the bank B. Okay, so to have the video sorter, I already did that before, and as you can see here, I have all the 12 lines of Ableton Live exported to the compact flash card. Okay. So next, let's move to the Octatrack and do the second part of the video. Okay. So I'm going to change this to this view. I'm going to take out the card, and I'm going to put it inside the Octatrack. Okay. Perfect. So, first of all, we are going to start from scratch. We are going to select here project. We're going to select, we're going to change the set, and we're going to change the set means what will be the root directory of your work. So I'm going to change the set, and I'm going to use the folder that I created. Okay. So this will be Ableton to Ableton to Octatrack. This will be my set. Okay. And I will create an empty project. I will call it, well, the project from today. That's fine. So we are having now a blank project. It will take some seconds. All right. So what can we do? Well, just to start, we need to set the tempo. As you saw in Ableton Live, we have 125, and this is the recommended tempo from Audio React, from the library. So I'm going to click on here and change the tempo to 125. Perfect. Next, as I told you, we are going to work with 6 tracks, 1 to 6. The 7th track will be used sparingly for a flex machine to do some looping, and the 8th track will be the master. Okay. So initially, what we are going to do is all these 12 lines of 12 different songs, I'm going to do them, to put them in 12 different banks. Okay. So I'm just going to use one pattern per bank. Okay. And as you know, if you're familiar with the Octatrack, there is one pattern within, there are 16 patterns within each bank. So in my workflow, you are able to play 16 different songs with Elektron Octatrack, with one project, which 16 songs is more than enough. If you play more than 1 hour, more than 2 hours, more than 3 hours, you will need to use parts, but it will be more complex. Okay, we are not going to talk about parts today. Okay, let me check here the comments. Beto, I jam with push 2 and machine micro. Good. I use the micro for fast and easy ideas catching. So it's my number one track by default in my template. Good. Then some complete control VST tracks and some reason MIDI tracks. Yes. This workflow is really nice. I have here the machine MK3 and I love it. I have some tutorials about that. The thing is that I am using the Octatrack because I want to go without a computer, and that is the at the moment the only device that can do that. I know there is a new push 3 that you can play doubles, and also there is a machine plus, but I think the Octatrack can do very interesting thing for live performance, like sample mangling and other stuff, and it's really small, really compact, so I like that as well. Even you can play with machine plus and push 3. The problem is that it at the end is a computer inside that, no, and I have enough computers in my life. So if I play music, I don't want to see many computers. Anyway, let's continue. So in the Elektron Octatrack, we're going to set the different machines, and we're going to load the samples. Okay. So to load the sample, as you know, you can double click on the track number T1, and then you move right. You are in the slot 1, move right, and here you have the folder inside audio. It's called DAV Techno. And as you can see here, I have a list of all the different folders, one folder for each line, for each song. Okay. So because I am in bank 1, bank A, I'm going to choose the samples from the first folder. So I place here yes, and I have the list of the 6 samples. I'm going to use for the first one, I'm going to use the the bass drum, this one, yes. And here, if I press play, well, initially you have to know that um, when you are starting the Octatrack, a new project, you have only 16 cells to put triggers, okay? So if you want to put more than 16 triggers, you need to press function and page. And here you can configure how many triggers do you have in the pattern, okay? We want to have more than 16 because 16 is just one pattern, and we want, sorry, one is called a compass in Spanish. One beat, one beat. A ver, sorry, I'm forgetting my English. One bar. Sorry. You have just one bar, okay? And we want to have more than one bar. How can we do that? Well, you can select here, pressing the page button. You can go from 16, 32, 48, and 64. 64 is the equivalent to 4 bars, okay? So if I press function and page again, I will put play, and as you can see, first bar, and you have here a light that is second bar, the third bar, the fourth bar, and then it starts again. Okay? Perfect. So to put a trigger to launch this sample, we just enable this record button and we just put one trigger here. This trigger, because the synthesizing in the Octatrack, the sample player, is configured in the amplification to hold and release infinite, just one click will stay for the whole pattern, the 4 bars, and then we'll come here and play again. Okay, I'm going to push play. One, two, three, four, two, two, three, four, three, four, three, four, 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 three, four, and then again. Okay. And if I open the sample here in the audio editor, you need to check that you are using the whole sample. Okay, I'm going to press play again and have a look at the bar advancing here. 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, and then again. Okay, excellent. Why is this important? Because there will be times that the sample is longer or is shorter, and you have to adjust the length of your pattern depending on the number of bars you have in the sample. Okay, but it's better learning by doing. So let's go to the second one, the second track. I'm going to load the sample. So I just double press here. I go right and I select this sample, which is the top drums. Okay, it will be in white, which means that is the sample selected. I go back, and then I'm going to put a trigger here. Now, what happens here? The problem is that now for this track, I am just using, I am using 64. Okay, so it should work okay. Let me play it. 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, the scale is okay because it's the same length as the sample above. Okay, in track 1 and track 2. Let's go to track 3. In track 3, the slot is empty. I'm going to double click here and select the percussion. For example, this one. If you want to preview, function yes. This one. I put a trigger here. And if I click on the audio editor, I need to double check that I am using the entire sample, okay? For the moment, we are being lucky because all the samples have the same length, but it won't be the case all the time. Let's go next to sample number 4. I double click it to load it. We are in the 4th line. Let's use this one. This one, for example. Same thing, I put a trigger here, play. I double check on the audio editor. And as you can see here, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2. It is not going to the very end of the sample. Why is that? Because this is a longer sample. How can we fix that? Okay. The problem with the Octatrack is that when we go to function and page, we cannot put more than that. There is a limit of 64. So we need to play with a couple of tricks. The first one is that we need to enable one functionality that makes the length of the different tracks different. So this option is configured pressing function and pattern. With function and pattern, you have here something called a scale mode. And in scale mode, you have normal and you have per track. If you select per track, it enables you to have different lengths of patterns with different tracks, okay? So I select per track, I go out, and as you can see here, if I select function page, I can have here 16, but in another track, I can have, for example, 64 and 64 in the others, okay? Okay, one more important thing is that a part of these numbers, 64, 64, if you want to have longer than 64 patterns, you must configure the master pattern to be able to double that quantity. Where do you do that? You do that in this number in the lower part. It's called, as you can see here, is labeled master. As you can see here, master, and it says 016. So if you want to be able to have, instead of 4 bar loops, you want 8 bar loops, you will need 128 length. Okay, the length of 128 is 8 bars, okay, or 128 tricks, or yes. So basically, you have to go here to the right, and you can configure this master just once for the whole pattern. Okay, so I'm going to turn here the level, and I will go up until I reach 128. You can go faster if you press function and move the level knob here, 128. Okay, but you will see that even if I put this longer, and I put my tree in 64, if I press play and I see the audio editor, you will see that it returns to the beginning and it doesn't finish the length of the pattern of the sample. Why is that? Because Octatrack is not able to manage more than 64 of length, 64 triggers. So you need to configure this track to be slower, half the speed, okay? So now I'm going to click on function page again, and for this track, you have another option, which is this 1x number here on the top, and I will move there, and I will put here half, 1/2, okay? That means that the clock of this fourth track will go slower, half the speed of the others. And that means that it will take twice to reach the end. So you can put a longer pattern. You can put an 8-bit pattern in a 4-bit pattern. Okay, let me show you in the movement because it's much better to see it. Watch the speed here now. If I press play, see how fast this moves in track 3, the standard one. Okay. And now look at the one in the 4th track that I configured to go half the speed. It's slower. Page 2, page 3, and page 4. And if I go to the audio editor, you will see that now the needle goes to the very end. Can you see that? So what does this mean? This means that you can just see that in the Octatrack, or even if you are in Ableton Live, let me show you. You can also see the length of the pattern before importing them. So here, for example, let me take out my video. Here, as you can see, in this sample, I double click it, you see 4 bars, okay? Here. But if I click the second, it's 4 bars as well. If I click the third, 4 bars. If I click the fourth, 4 bars. If I click this one, is more bars, is 8 bars. Can you see that? It's 8 bars. This is longer. That is the one that I configure here. And in the track for the bass, it's even more. It's 16 bars. Okay, it's 16 bars. So we are going to now configure the one with 16 bars. Oops, sorry. So how can you do that? Well, let's go to track number 6. I'm going to double click here and load the sample in the 6th position. Is this the bass one? Okay. Now, if I see the length of my pattern now of track 6 with function page, it's just 16. I'm going to put 64. I will leave the others by default. And see that when I press play with the audio editor open, sorry, I didn't put the trigger. I'm going to put the trigger on the first row, and now we should be able to listen the bass. As you can see, it starts again and doesn't go to the very end. So we need to we need to make it longer. How can we make it longer? We just saw it. We will press function page. We go to the left here, and then 1x, we're going to put 1/2. Okay? We go out, we press play with the audio editor, and we should see this going faster. I'm going to mute some other channels so we are able to hear it. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, and it goes to the beginning. So we need an even longer pattern. So how can we manage that? Again, we go to function page. We can put, instead of 1/2, we can put 1/4. So now the needle of the sample will be very, very slow. Have a look. 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we are still not able to have the needle at the very end. Why is that? Because we need a longer pattern length for the whole pattern in Octatrack. How do we do that? Again, we need to go to function page, and instead of 128, we need something longer because this is a 16-bit sample with the bass. So we go here, and instead of 128, we need something longer. We need 256 there. And with 256, let's see how it works now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16. Good. So we have completed a whole pattern having different pattern lengths of different tracks, okay? Now, let's move to the next one, to bank number 2, okay? We have now completed this one. We're going to now go to the next bank for the next song. So we go to bank number 2 and pattern 1, okay? And now we are in a completely different bank. So we need to configure all the sounds again. But we are going to use the second row that we did in Ableton Live. So we check here that we double check here in track 1. And now we are going to choose a different sound. I'm going to go to 21 because I like to use for the bank 2, 28 and so on, for the bank 3, 30 and so on. And that's how I manage it. It's really easier that way. So here in 21, I'm going to go out of the directory and choose the next directory I did when exporting from Ableton Live is bank B02. I go in there and now I select the drums, the bass drum. Perfect. And now I need to click another yes, because if this is not blank, the sample is not selected. So yes again, and now yes, it is selected. So if I press play, as you can see, when you change by the bank goes again to the default of 16. So I need to change this to 64 to have a long pattern, because all the samples that I'm managing today have 4 bits or more. Okay, so 64 here, and I will put the trig. I press play. Perfect. Next, I go to the next track, double click, I go down to number 22, and I select the next sample. I put the trigger. Perfect. 64, because I have the same I have the same length for everything, but I would probably need to change it again. So I double click on track 3, I go to 23, yes. I'm going to choose here the percussion, put the trigger. So when you are loading the samples, you have to double check all the time, pressing the audio editor, that the sample length matches the length of the pattern, okay? At the moment it's okay. Let's continue. Track number 4, double click. I go down to pattern 20 to sample 24, and I'm going to put here the keys. I put the trigger, let's play, and I double check in the audio editor. It's fine. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Next, track number 5. Double check, double click. I go down with function going down. 25, yes. I'm going to select the pad now. Double yes. Put the trigger. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4. Okay. What's the problem here? The problem is the same. The needle doesn't go to the very end. So I need to configure the pattern to be longer. Okay. So how does it work? I don't have more than 64. So I need to change the configuration of this pattern with function pattern and change it. Instead of normal scale mode, I need to put a scale mode per track. I select yes. I select no now to exit. And now, if I press function page, I can select 64 as well for this longer sample, but I also need to put this here in 124 because I think it's 8 bar, and I have to put here, instead of 1x, I need to put it 1/2. So if you put here 128 and 1/2 is for pattern of 8 bars, okay? Let's see if this has 8 bars, I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, sorry. What's going on? Because I had the trigger marked before the extension. When you extend a pattern in the Octatrack, the trigger is copied between pages, as you can see here. Let me take my picture, okay. So if you have a short pattern and you have this market, when you extend it to maybe 2 or 4 or 8 or 16 bars, what the Octatrack automatically copies this trigger. You can change it in the configuration, but automatically by default it copies it. So the problem is that every time I play, if it goes to the second page, to the second bar, it fires again the trigger. So I need to take out all the triggers but the first one. Okay, so this one is on, the second one I take it out, the third one I take it out, and the fourth one I take it out. This is an operation that you will do on the Octatrack many different times, because it's very common that you extend the pattern and the trigger is copied, you have to take it out. Okay, so now let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and now it starts again, and we didn't reach the end. Okay, you can leave it as is, but I would like to make it perfect. Okay, so we are going to extend again the length of the pattern. So as you can see, if we want to extend it, you just press function page. You have 64, you cannot put a bigger number, but you can go down here and put, instead of 1/2, 1/4. And then you move right, and instead of 128, to reset all the patterns, you need to put 256 for a 16-bit sample, like the one we are managing. Okay, 256. Now let's test again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 1 again. Perfect. We did it. Okay, track number 6. What about the bass? Double click it. We are going to go to slot 26, and I'm going to choose the bass, yes again, and I'm going to put the trigger. And let's see how long is this sample. I can also check in Ableton Live as well. If you have it open, I can check that this one is 4 bars, so it should be easy. It should be easy to put it there. So let's play. Okay, at the moment is sorry, is in 16. I need to change it to 64. But what happened? The problem is that because I did it with the trigger on, I need to take out the trigger of the other pages. Page 2, take out the trigger. Page 3, take out the trigger. Page 4, take out the trigger. Page 1, the trigger. Audio editor again, I press play and watch the needle. 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2, perfect. So it is working, okay? So as you can see, here, everything is working. As you can see, everything is working. So we have the sample length, okay? And now, what we are going to investigate? Well, we're going to do one more part, which is talking about the flex machine, okay? So the flex machine, and I will put it in track 7. Let me go back to bank number 1. So at the moment, we didn't load anything in track number 7, okay? So what we are going to do is put a flex track here. We're going to do a loop recorder, and this loop recorder will record anything we want, and then we will be able to change the music for the transitions, okay? So how does it work? Okay, first we're going to configure the flex track. The flex track is really easy. You double click track 7, you go back to the left, and here you can see the machine types. I'm going to select flex. I press yes, and now I press right, and I have another different list of samples, but there are new options at the top. These are the recorder buffers. So I'm going to use recording buffer number 7. Okay, this is now selected. I leave with no. And at the moment, I'm going to configure the recording of this. Okay. So first of all, to mangle with the recording, we're going to use these keys at the top and also the function key. So first you will see here setup 1. So function setup 1, and here you can see the recording. Okay. In AV and in CD are to record from external cables. We are not going to use that now. So I'm going to leave it out here. I'm going to move these circles, these knobs, so you don't have the option. The recording length, this sets how long do you want to record the pattern, okay, for this recording buffer. I'm going to put it 64. So it will be for 4 bars. The trigger recording system we will want to. This is fine, and I will be recording the main output of the Octatrack, and I will put the loop off. Okay, so this is our first page of configuration for the looper. The second page, I'm going to press function setup 2, and here you can put to have a fine input at output. I don't use it, but you can quantize the recording and the play. I'm going to enable that. Okay, so for quantize recording, I put pattern length and quantize play pattern length. That means that the recording and the play of this 7 track will stay in sync with the length of the pattern. Okay? Not before, not after. Excellent. So, how do we record something? Very easily. We just press no to leave. Okay? And now, if we want to record, we just push play, and then we can just press one of the buttons here just to record. It's important to know that if you press record 1 or record 2, it will record the external inputs. If you press record 3, it will record the internal stuff. Okay? And also, well, let's try to record something. So I press play, and I have to wait till the end so the trigger of the recording works. Okay, it will make an entire loop and then record. You can see here in this icon you have now a different letter. It's an F letter, and there is a stop sign. That means that the recording is stopped. But once I press this, you will see that it is armed, and then we'll start recording. Okay, so I'm going to press play. In the meantime, I'm going to double check the length of this pattern. It's 16. I'm going to change it to 64. I'm going to press record now, okay? There is a plus sign here. Can you see it? That means that it is recording. Okay? So at the moment, this is the recording. Okay, so this is the recording that is on track 7. Okay? Okay, so we have the recording now. How can we play loops live to make a transition? Okay, interesting. We need to use a synths for that. Okay, so initially we are going to use Xsynth number 16, which is if I press B here, I'm going to take a video. If I press B here and I click on 16, I'm going to program the synth here in 16. Okay, so let me, one moment, I'm going to double check. So how are we going to do the looping? Okay, first of all, we are going to put a play trick here on the seventh track. Okay, so I press play here, but the problem is that if I put play here, everything will sound together. We will have the 6 original tracks, and we have the recording of the 7 sounding at the same time. Okay, which is a complete mess because you are doubling the sound. Okay, so what we're going to do is program one of the synth here, so you just mute all these sounds when the fader is on the right. We just mute these sounds and we just leave this sound on. And when we are out of the scene or we are here, we just leave this, but we don't leave the recording. Okay? It will make sense when we do it. Okay? So first of all, what I'm going to do initially without touching anything is just put the volume in 7. I'm going to put the volume, I go to amp, and the volume will be 0 in this page. I select track 7, amp, and here the volume, we put it down. That means that if I press play just to listen this, it won't listen because the volume is removed, okay? Okay, and now everything, all the rest sounds, all the others sound okay, okay? And now, when we move right here, we need to do the opposite. We need to lower the volume of this one and enable the volume of this one. So, how can we do that? We just press B and go to each of the tracks and lower the volume with here, X level. So don't release this button, just have pressed the B pressed. We lower this to minimum, 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 this to minimum. Okay? And the seventh one, where we want to listen to it, so we will put it in the center. Sure. All right. So at this moment, if I press play and the father is in the left, you will listen to this sixth track. But if I move right, you hear the same thing, but you are just listening the seventh track, which is the recorder. Okay? Perfect. So how can we make a transition? It's really easy. You can just program the recorder maybe to just record one of the tracks, or you can mute them. For example, if you are playing like this, you leave the percussion, okay? For example, these two tracks, okay? So here, I'm going to press recording, and on the next loop, it will start recording. We have to wait 128. Now, as you can see, this is recording, okay? Now it has finished and has started playing because I put a trigger here. All right, so I can move right, and this is playing the recording of these two. I can now put more sounds and then come back. All right. So this is the way how the transitions work. Now, how can you do that when from one song to the next song? Very easily. You have to replicate the same functionality on the next bank. So I'm going to bank 2, pattern 1, and this is a completely different song. But I'm going to configure track 7 also to have a flex machine and use recording 7, the recording buffer number 7. And the recording buffer will stay the same even if you move to the next bank. So now I'm going to put a play trigger, and I'm going to also configure the scene. So I press B16 to configure the scene. Let me be out of here. B16, and then with the B button on, I just lower the volume of the tracks, and then in track 7, I lower the amp here. I'm pressing B again. I put it volume 0. That way, okay? So this way, if I am the right, I can again record, for example, let me configure the recording of track 7. Here, the same thing. I take this out, recording length 64, loop off, and then on the second page, quantize recording, pattern length, and quantize play, pattern length. Okay. So now I can record again, or I can go to the first bank, like here. I can press play. I'm going to record just the percussion. So I go to track 7, press the recording number 3, and I have to wait until this goes to the end of the complete pattern and starts again to record 64 steps. Not yet. Maybe now. Okay, now it's recording. I can open the audio editor window and see how it advances, okay? Okay, now it has finished, okay? So what I can do, I can go right. This is the recording at the moment. So I can stop the tracks and I can go to the next song. I can press bank 2, pattern 1, and you will see here we are in bank 2, pattern 1, and you can start playing. Let me check because it didn't work this time. Maybe it's the length 64. And let me double check here. Yeah. I had a mistake in the programming of this. Let me check again. Bank 1, pattern 1. I press play. Take out everything. And yes, on track 7, I press record. I wait till it starts recording. Not yet. Okay, now it's recording on buffer 7. Okay, so these two tracks are now recorded in the loop. I move right to the loop. Now this is the loop sounding. I can take out these ones. And now I have to be sure that on the next bank, I have the same track configured and the same sync configured to be playing. Okay, bank 2, pattern 1. It will move now to B01. Let's see if it reached the end. Maybe now. Not yet. Not yet. Maybe now. Okay, now we are in pattern B. Okay? And this has been playing without interruption. So I can introduce the other tracks, like these two. Not easy, but it's the Octatrack. At the end, it's learning, trying, but well, we did it. So it is 1 hour and 40 minutes of video, but we went to the very beginning to the very end. So I hope that will help you to create your sets in Ableton Live, prepare all the samples, categorize them, then copy them appropriately to the Octatrack in the card, put them accordingly, configure the looper, configure the master track, configure the scenes, and have a set of 1 hour or even more. In the next video, I'm going to take this project, I'm going to plug a synthesizer, I'm going to play some notes in the scales that I've written down from the Camelot wheel, and you will see how fun it is. Take care. Thank you for coming. Ciao, ciao. Bye.